Hello, I wanted to talk to you guys today about pseudo-productivity. Now this is a behavioral problem that I'm constantly challenged with. It's something out there that a lot of us have. Some of us have recognized this, and some of us are still unaware of what pseudo-productivity is. I wanted to talk to you today about pseudo-productivity, why it was recognized, and how important it is to correct for the betterment of accomplishing goals. But also I'd like to explore with you the true origins of why this behavior exists, and to possibly find deeper meaning to what this behavior is trying to tell us. But before we dive deep, I would like to share with you the definition of, as posted on the Google search, the definition of pseudo-productivity. Now this was created by collecting comments and information from AI, and this came from several sources, all of that of which is at the end of this video, as well as down at the description. Let's check out the definition.
Pseudo-productivity refers to the engaging in visible but ultimately ineffective activities that create an illusion of being busy and productive without actually accomplishing meaningful work. It is common in knowledge work and involves activities like endless emails, frequent meetings, and constant online communication to demonstrate busyness rather than focusing on deep work that creates real value. Key characteristics of pseudo-productivity. Focus on activity over outcome. The primary measure of productivity becomes how busy one appears, not tangible results achieved. Illusion of progress. Workers feel productive due to constant motion, but the needle on important tasks hardly moves. Knowledge work context. It thrives in fields where work is hard to measure, like writing or problem solving, making it easy to substitute visible activity for actual accomplishment. Use of high-tech tools. Digital tools like email and Slack, while intended for efficiency, can become tools for pseudo-productivity, providing endless opportunities to demonstrate activity. Common examples: rapid-fire emails and Slack messages, responding instantly to create the appearance of constant engagement. Excessive meetings, attending lengthy or frequent meetings that could be resolved with a quick email or conversation. Fulfilling minor tasks, getting caught up in small, often insignificant tasks to feel like you're accomplishing something. Working long hours without deep progress, staying late or coming early to demonstrate effort, even if it doesn't lead to significant results. Why is it harmful? Waste valuable time. Time spent on pseudo-productivity could be used for deep work that creates significant value. Leads to burnout. A cycle of busyness without results can be exhausting and detrimental to one's well-being. Hindrance to innovation. Deep work, which is essential for breakthroughs, becomes difficult to achieve when attention is constantly under attack by distractions.
Okay, that's the description of pseudo-productivity. And what I get from it instantly is it's a very bad thing when it comes to getting things done at work. That's why it was noticed, because we live in a work world where everybody spends a third of their lives showing up and working. And while we're there for a third of our lives, they'd like to see things get done. So I can see from the AI's perspective why this was recognized as pseudo-productivity. Kind of counterproductivity, is another example of this. But I also noticed that it definitely just talked about nothing but work. And one thing I get from it that it didn't really point out, and many people might not think this is a big deal, but to me it is, there's a difference between being productive and accomplishing goals. And I think that's where people get confused with being pseudo-productive, because they feel productive, they're getting things done, but when it comes to their goals, they seem to be a little bit more whimsical. and kind of dancing around getting a certain thing done. And so I can see where the motivation comes from, as far as being productive or even excited. Coming to work early, staying a little bit longer, staying a little longer at the meeting, or talking. In my experience, it'd be sitting on the tailgate after working construction, having a beer with the guys or something. Is that being productive? Not necessarily, but it is bonding, and I think that's one thing that the AI didn't really point out is the difference between the work world, especially with technology, and a hands-on world is we're alive and we have feelings and we have emotions, and some of us like to live. And I think the people that like to live are the ones that are really outwardly engaging in many things because they like what they do and they love their lives. And yes, they can, obviously anybody can be guilty of carrying on in a conversation or in a period of their day instead of moving forward and getting a goal done, but they're just sinking it in because for us it's a short-lived experience, life, and all we really have is our experience and the adventure of every day. So I feel kind of bad that it's looked at as is such a negative behavior because I think there's some positive to it. I think, but in order to have it be positive, I think you definitely have to recognize it, and I think you definitely have to see how you can work with it in ways to make it work for you. And for me, I want to take it away a little bit from work and just look at it with everyday life, because if you have a behavior at work, you probably have the same behavior at home, obviously, and all of us have done this. We know we have to clean the living room, and now's the time that we're going to go take out the trash, or we know we have to get all this stuff done, and so we do the one thing we've been putting off for 2 weeks because it's right there. We do that stuff all the time, and but I think there's still ways that you can mix your productivity and getting goals done. For me, one thing I don't really do is I don't really work out that much exercise-wise because I just, like many people, there's not much time in life. So, to just spend it just on that, yes, there's a goal, it's health, and it is productive, but it's not productive enough for me in what period of time that I have in the day. So for me to be pseudo-productive, I clean instead of work out. I find cleaning opportunities that I've been procrastinating with and how it could help me work out. I do a lot of things like that, and it has two benefits. One, it's hygiene for the house, and the yard and the environment, and it's also working on health. It's exercise, mobility, even lifting weights, so it's all pseudo productivity, but it all works in a nice little circle. I think if you're going to be pseudo productive, try to keep it in the home space, because at home is, I think, where you can make the whirlwind of you going around from activity to activity, engaging in an experience more than getting it done. I think that could be more, it could be definitely healthier applied at home. When you're at work, setting goals, taking notes, and going, look, I'm here for this. You got to get it done. And goals is a topic of its own, because it really is like hitting a target. You have to, first of all, you have to know what your target is. What am I here to do, and what am I here to get done? And make sure that you recognize, okay, there's my target. Then you got to know when your opportunity is to be able to hit that target, and when to take the action. And then do it when it's time to be done. You're done. When that window opens, you shoot. the arrow, or not window, no, can shoot an arrow, but you know what I'm saying, like that opportunity is just short-lived. The goal, the deadline, when it needs to be done. So you have to take action. When that happens and you say, oh well, I was the gun, I was getting it ready, or my work, I was getting ready, my truck, my computer. That's great that you did an update on your computer, but you didn't get the email you were supposed to send out on time. You see where I'm getting with this. So you definitely have to say, look, I have to short-live all engagement life-wise while I'm at work and focus on work first. And to your surprise, you'll get all these goals knocked out, and you'll actually have a little period of time to live. But you gotta finish it first, live second when it comes to work. Now at home, I say let it live. That's my thing. That's where we need to let go of things. I still take notes and have goals set every day at home, but it's a place where I can recognize that I'm being pseudo-productive, and that I can still make it work. There's a lot of things we all overdo, and that's another thing about pseudo-productivity that I think is important to recognize, is that they're talking about overdoing things, like overdoing conversations, overdoing making a burger. It's ready. Give it to them. You don't have to keep fluffing the bun. Go ahead, just give it to them. Overdoing. But at home, we know when we overdo something, when we clean the house, it's going to get dirty again eventually. So we're going to have to go in this circle, especially at home. We're constantly going in circles at home. So I think it's okay, but I try to mix it with two things at once. For me, if I want to take some pictures of some scenery or something like that, I'll go with my daughter and my grandson on a trip, and I'm visiting, and I'm being pseudo-productive by taking pictures, but later on I can use it for something productive. I think you see where I'm coming from with this. Obviously, a lot of the definitions you're going to get, especially in the future, in my opinion, about things on the internet are going to be driven towards the workplace, because as far as the world collective thought, we are here to work. We're here to have the continuum of growth and development. All that all comes through us participating and getting things done. But that's a third of our lives. The other 2/3 is where we get to be ourselves. And if we have some quirky behavioral problem like pseudo-productivity, I don't think you can completely extinguish anything. So you gotta know, I guess, when to light the candle and when to blow it out. Blow it out at work. But that's pretty much all I can say about that right now. I just want to quickly close by saying, don't polish your guitar when the song is ready to be recorded. I know it feels good to contribute and have everything ready and to do things that need to be done, but sometimes certain things need to be done at a certain time. And that is the big problem with pseudo-productivity. So focus on the goal when it's time to focus on the goal, and then focus on the shine when it's time to focus on the shine. All things are important, but sometimes there are certain windows that are only open for a period of time, and during that period of time is an important time to get the goal accomplished. So this is a wrap-up on pseudo-productivity, and I hope you guys have a good day.